If you're wondering why I'm looking kind of crazy, I did cry before this because I was watching the newest Heartstopper film, but it's okay. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to today's video, where today we're just gonna be like chatting and just having a bookish chat. I haven't done one of these and I have seen a lot of bookish things happening around and I just need to talk about it. I just absolutely just need to just like get my opinion out there, and I'm hoping to make this a little bit on the shortest side of things, but you know me, I like to yap a lot, so feel free, get comfy, grab a drink, put me on in the background as well too. So I have a list here on my monitor of things that I want to talk about. We obviously, one of the first things that has really been talked about a lot is the ACOTAR book, specifically ACOTAR 6 and 7. You guys know that I have a very love, mostly hate relationship with this series because of the fact I didn't read these when I had the YouTube channel, but I've talked extensively about these ones, and I loved the first three. The trilogy was great. Fourth one, which was a novella, which I don't really count as a part of the series, is just like fine, and then the fifth one was where it really kind of just like took me out. So if you guys are wondering if I will be picking up the ACOTAR books when they come out later this year and at the top of next year, the answer is no. And also, I heard something as of recently as well too, because it was announced on the Call Her Daddy podcast. I don't watch that podcast really much. I only see like clips from it every once in a while when they pop up on my YouTube a lot of the time. And specifically, I saw that like it was like months ago when these books were announced and the covers were not announced. You would think that like they would have covers by now, but according to things that I've seen, like Bloomsbury is apparently like remaking the covers, which I'm like, okay, because you know, you had the original covers which looked like this. I did not have these original covers. I had these original covers, which were the highlighter ones where they were just loud and obnoxious on your bookshelf. If you see them on anybody's bookshelf, you know exactly what series they are. I do not own these books anymore. I decided to get rid of them pretty much. And something that I think is kind of funny as to like them remaking the copies of the books, it's just, I don't know why. For me, it's just a little bit of like a money grab type of situation where it's just like, you've been writing this series for however long and your publisher is deciding like after, I think it was 6 years after, the fifth one was published, now you're making new covers as well. I don't like that very much. I really don't like that, honestly. It's one of those things where I'm just like, it grinds my gears a lot of time. But then again, I won't be reading these if any means necessary. I might listen to it on Libby, but honestly, at this point, I have no real ill intention to continue the ACOTAR books just because I don't like that series very much. And honestly, I don't really like Sarah J. Maas as an author. I know, crazy to say on the internet, but yeah, that's all I have to say about ACOTAR. Next one that I want to talk about is like Bridgerton, specifically where I'm at in my Bridgerton's like watch through. I've already watched to season 4. You guys know this. I read An Offer from a Gentleman, and I think I've decided that I will not be reading the books anymore because the TV show is so much better than the books. The books, I get it. They were written in the early 2000s. They have this kind of early 2000s type of vibe where you're just like, oh, like they're possessive, but it's like also that's disgusting and like, ugh, you know? So for that one, I'm just mostly going to be watching the series because I just have a better time with the series. And I'm also very excited for Francesca and Michaela's season coming up in season 5. I don't know if it started filming yet or not. I hope they have, but they might be keeping it off air just so that like people don't leak to the location and where they're filming, you know? Next one that I also want to talk about is Heated Rivalry. I might be one of the only people on the planet who still has not read/watched that series. And honestly, I don't know if I will ever. I I don't know. Maybe I will try it, but like, I feel like I gotta be in the mood for it because from what I've heard, it's extremely, extremely spicy. And sometimes I'm not always in the mood for spicy shit. I'm sometimes just like, okay, so. But I do want to try reading the books eventually. Maybe that's kind of like a fall thing, maybe a winter thing as well too. And maybe I'll watch Heated Rivalry over on the Patreon. We shall see what I'm thinking with that, honestly. But I just feel like I'm just like, not really, I don't know how to feel about Heated Rivalry. I think it's a great show from what I've seen, and I don't really know too much about it. I do know that I got renewed for a second season, so we will be getting a second season, I'm pretty sure, at least. But it's just one of those things where I just don't know how to feel about it, you know? But also another hockey related thing is Off Campus. Now, I have watched Off Campus. Have I read the books? No, and I really don't want to read the books. Now, here's my thing about that is a lot of the times when I first got back into reading, if I found out that something was a book adaptation, I was like, oh, gotta read the book first. And then I'd end up loving the book, maybe hating the adaptation, or loving the adaptation and hating the book a little bit more. And I just feel like, I just think Off Campus feels a little bit better to watch it rather than revisit to the books, because what I've seen is the books were written in like 2015, 2016, still kind of the age of like Wattpad-ish. I was like in middle school ish, I would say. I was maybe like 11, 12 or so when those books came out. And I've just heard that the TV show is taking a lot more care and a lot more consideration in making the men in the series be much better than they were in the books, like specifically the hands, what is it called? The campus-wide hands-off rule. According to the book, Garrett basically issues a hands-off rule on Hannah when they break up. It's supposed to be kind of cute and cheesy, and I've seen also a lot of people being pissed off that it wasn't in the TV show, or technically it was, but not in the way that people expected. And it's like, sure, that sounds cute in theory, but also if I was still at university and I was dating someone who was a very big like sports player in whatever sport they were playing, and they like told all of the guys in like school to like keep their hands off me, I would just be like, what the fuck? You're creepy. Why the fuck would you say that? And it's just something where like, it's just one of those things where Off Campus to me seems a lot better being watched rather than reading the books. Like I have no inclination to read the books. If I do, I'll more than likely read them on Libby, more than likely. I might audiobook them. I think it just kind of depends on what I'm feeling. But as of right now, I'm not feeling like reading Off Campus. But another thing that I'm actually wanting to read is Every Summer After, because Every Year After recently came out on Prime Video. The reason why I want to read the book before watching the TV show is because of the fact that I've heard that Carly Fortune is basically the queen of putting you into a setting within summer. And I am really curious to see exactly what that's about. I really don't know too much about the series. All I know is that Percy and Sam, they were, I believe, childhood best friends, and then something happened to not make them talk for however many years, and then Sam and his brother Charlie, I think, their mom dies, and then Percy comes back for the funeral, and then things kind of like develop from there. I've heard it's like second chance, things like that. And that one actually seems like a little bit more of an interesting one because, one, I've heard so many good things about Every Summer After, and it's just one of those things where like I don't mind learning about that type of stuff, you know what I mean? My monitor keeps going out because it has not had much activity, but that's a-okay. But yeah, I want to read Every Summer After before I watch the TV show. I might watch the TV show on the Patreon. I might give you guys little snippets on YouTube as well too. Kind of depends on just like what I'm feeling as well too, you know? And just things like that, you know? But yeah, I think that's really all I have to say on Every Summer After. I did hear that they are getting renewed for a season 2 because that one follows Charlie's story, which I believe was One Golden Summer, and following their story, I think, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm kind of a little bit behind on that stuff. And another one that I actually also want to read before the movie comes out is Project Hail Mary. I tried to read this, what was that, back in like March, April time, I think it was. I put it on a TBR at some point and then I just didn't get to it. I have the audiobook, I have the physical book, I have the Kindle version. I have all three formats that you can read the book. I don't know why I haven't like done anything with it yet. But if you guys don't know what Project Hail Mary is, you probably do know this one dude. He basically gets stranded on this space station. He doesn't remember what his name is, and he's trying to figure out why exactly he's on this spaceship. All I know is from the movie is that Ryan Gosling plays him, and from the book, I know that it is extremely funny and extremely just like coarse, if that makes any sense. I don't really know how to like describe that honestly, but it's one of those things where I recently read my first sci-fi, which was Recursion by Blake Crouch, and I really, really loved that. There was only one thing that irked me about it, and with Project Hail Mary, I'm very scared to get into it, but I think since I also have the audiobook, and I've heard a lot of people like the audiobook a lot more than the like trying to read the physical book, because sometimes the humor doesn't always come off very well in the physical book, than like actually like having someone read it in the character's voice and then you listen to it pretty much. So that's another thing on my list where I 100% need to watch slash read it, because it sounds so fascinating, so interesting, and honestly, I've avoided spoilers for this long. I think I can avoid spoilers for like a little bit longer, and that might even be a fall read as well. Plus, it's on my 26 books to read in 2026, so I might as well, you know? And then another bookish thing related is with Heartstopper. So recently, as of recording this, the Heartstopper graphic novel, specifically number 6, it came out on the 7th here in the US, and then the book, not the book, the movie actually came out on July 17th, which is the day that I am recording this. And I actually just finished watching that for the Patreon as well too. So if you want to check out that reaction, you can look at it in the link down below as well too. I'll also be putting up shorts on YouTube as well too of my like best reactions as well too. And I loved volume 6, but I also loved the movie and where the characters ended at within the movie as well too. I thought it made a whole lot of sense for the books and the adaptation as well too. Each of the stories made sense specifically for what type of media slash genre this was made for. And I'm not gonna lie, I did cry while watching the movie at least 2 times that I'm just like, okay. But it's just one of those things where I feel like Heartstopper, it's always talked about. It's always one of those things where it's like, oh my God, have you seen Heartstopper? Have you read Heartstopper? Oh my God, you have to read this. You have to read this. You have to watch it. It's a great thing. And mostly because of the fact that it celebrates queer love, and specifically it celebrates LGBTQ love in multiple ways. And I love that. Like, I almost say that this was also kind of the pioneer for also having shows like Heated Rivalry become a thing as well too, and having those types of books, or like even Red, White, and Royal Blue as well, and having those types of stories being told at the forefront of pop culture and things like that. And especially with how much hate the LGBTQ community is getting right now, especially trans people and things like that. And they talked a lot about that stuff within the movie, which I absolutely love to see. I love it so fucking much. And it's just one of those things where if you have not checked out Heartstopper, highly, and I mean highly recommend, just highly recommend in just general, because I just feel like that it needs to be something that a lot of people just need to like see, and also have different representation depending on just like what exactly you're going through as well too, not just in the books but also in the TV show slash movie as well too. It's a great way to end off the series, and I'm so happy with the way that it ended, because it ended in the perfect way in my personal opinion. I mean, I'm even wearing a Nick and Charlie Heartstopper shirt as I'm recording this video. Okay, and then another one that I've been seeing a lot as of recently is all of the hype for the Love Hypothesis. The Love Hypothesis has been in like everybody's like circuits of just like talking. Specifically, I know that at Obsessed Fest, they got a teaser trailer for the movie. I think it comes out in September. I think I'll put something on the screen to kind of like confirm or deny that as well. And I still have not read The Love Hypothesis. I read Love on the Brain and then a Christmas novella that Ali did with some of the people over at Amazon for like original stories. And with Love on the Brain, did not like it very much. I don't know why. It was just one of those things where I just, when I look back at it, I'm like, oh, I read that? Okay. But I'm not discounting Ali as a like author that I'm never gonna read because I know I need to read it. I want to read it, you know? So I might do a little thing of like, let's like read and watch like The Love Hypothesis. I'm not too sure, honestly, but I know a lot of people were talking about the fact that the male main character, I think his name is Adam, the actor who plays him, I believe it's either his girlfriend or his fiance or his partner. His partner, I think, played Ren in the recent like Star Wars like films and things like that. And from what I've heard is that the Love Hypothesis was technically a fanfic of a Kylo and Ren, I think, fan fiction. I'll put something up on the screen if I remember correctly and such. But I think that's interesting that the male main character is the fiance to Ren, which is a like fan fiction of that type of vibe, you know, or kind of like a retelling of that, but just make it more contemporary and things. So yeah. Next thing I also want to talk about is the Hunger Games going back into theaters coming up in the fall time, just in time for Sunrise on the Reaping. I want to reread the series before I go into Sunrise on the Reaping, what is it? Movie. Wow, that was hard for me to figure out. But I want to reread those. I want to reread the original trilogy. Specifically, I want to actually get through the original trilogy because I only was able to reread the first one. I got a little bit halfway through Catching Fire and I did not get to Mockingjay, unfortunately, and I did not get to reread Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And honestly, I still have not watched Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes yet. I know, crazy. Sue me. Fucking sue me, it's okay. And then again, it's been a couple years since I've also watched the Hunger Game films as well too, so I just feel like I kind of need to refresh myself on that. But I grew up reading the Hunger Games, and you guys know me, I was not a very big reader when I was a kid. I've told you guys this in the past, but this was the one series where I was like, okay, I can get behind this. Same with Divergent, but I don't remember a single thing about Divergent. I need to reread that as well too. But with the Hunger Games, I still cannot believe that the messaging of this authoritarian society is still very relevant to what is going on here, especially in the US, how we kind of have our own version of President Snow as well in like nowadays. And I'm just like, we're starting to truly live in a dystopia. It's something where I'm like, I have such fond memories towards it. I have such fond things of like why I really wanted to stand up to different things and why exactly I knew that I needed to just like do this, if that makes any sense. And it's one of those things where I was like, man, it's one of those things where I'm so excited, but also I'm so sad, mostly because when I first read Sunrise on the Reaping, it was last year in 2025 when it first came out. I remember reading it, really enjoying it. And then when the epilogue got to me, it was just, I was a sobbing mess, I would say. So yeah, I really want to reread and rewatch those before Sunrise on the Reaping comes out, which I believe comes out in November, I think. I could be completely wrong, but don't quote me on that stuff. Another thing that I also want to talk about is all of the current Emily Henry adaptations, specifically one that happened at the top of this year, which was People We Meet on Vacation. I read the book. was fine. Watched the movie, kind of preferred the movie a little bit more to the book and things like that. But one thing I also kind of want to talk about is I think they've started production of Beach Read by Emily Henry. And keep in mind, I only read Beach Read back in 2024 and I gave it a 4-star. I remember some things about it, but honestly, at this point, I don't really remember too much about what happens in Beach Read, but I know a lot of the girlies who read Beach Read for the first time and really loved January and Gus together. A lot of them are very, very, very pissed about who's the dude that's playing Gus in the film? Patrick Schwarzenegger. Yep. Okay. Yeah. He is the one that's playing Gus, and Phoebe, what's her name? Phoebe. Yeah. Phoebe Demenevere, who played Daphne in, what is it? Bridgerton. Wow. That escaped my mind. She's playing January, and I tell you what, I really don't have an opinion on this, mostly because I remember when reading Beach Read, I didn't really like Gus that much. He wasn't a favorite character of mine off the top of my head, and from what I know about these different things is that, like, with casting, not everything is going to be exactly how you picture. The only thing that I can think of that was actually like something that like you could actually picture and they actually were able to find actors who looked like the characters was Heartstopper. Like exactly the same as the comic, like characters. And I'm like, how does that happen? But like it even happened with Off Campus. It happened with Bridgerton when it was first starting out because of like adding in diversity. I don't know if there was too many outrageous things with Every Summer After, but I know with like Boys of Tommen, for example, a lot of people were pissed about that, which I can see why, but also at the same time, I don't really care, So when it comes to the Beach Read adaptation, I will watch it, but I definitely need to reread the book before I watch it. I might do an audio reread because I read it for the first time and I don't really remember too much about it. But yeah, I think that's it, honestly. And then I have a couple of new releases that I also want to talk about. Well, specifically one that I saw and I was like, I need to talk about this because it's coming up next year. And that is Taylor Jenkins Reid announced a new book that's coming out in March. I think it was the 27th, I think it's coming out, 26th. It's somewhere on a Tuesday at the end of March. I'm not too sure when, but it's titled The Last Days of Vic and Coco. I'm so excited for this. I'm still not over Atmosphere. I think Atmosphere will still be one of my favorite books of all time. But this one, from what I've heard, is it follows the friendship of Vic and Coco, who are pool hustlers, I believe, by the game of like pool, I would imagine at least. I didn't really look at the description too much of this. I saw the cover and I was like, okay, where can I pre-order? But I kind of wanted to talk about that as well too, because you guys know I'm going to be a fucking wreck when I get my hands on that book, because as you guys know, Taylor Jenkins Reid is one of my favorite authors of all time. In my opinion, she can do no wrong. She just has a way of telling stories that is just something that is like almost out of a movie. Like I can see her books play out as movies in my head. It's like it happened with Daisy Jones and the Six, Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I could see Atmosphere becoming a movie. Wait. Is that becoming a movie? I feel like I heard somewhere in the grapevine that Atmosphere was becoming a movie, but I don't remember off the top of my head. I'll have to look at that. Anyways, taking the conversation away from that, I want to talk about the books that I last read, am currently reading, and am going to start next. So the last book that I actually finished up reading was Taurus Season by Bryn Weaver. I gave that a 4.25, or not 4.25, a 4.5. I loved it so much, and I needed a good book after finishing The Night We Met, which was not my favorite thing in the entire world, but I've also kind of not been in a reading slump anymore since rereading Heartstopper, which kind of reminded me of why I like to read in the first place, you know? And I was just so excited to like get back into the reading space, you know? But like with tourist season, it follows Harper and Nolan. Harper is stationed in this town called Cape Carnage, where she basically deals with very unruly tourists if they are being bitches or they are not being good. And then Nolan comes to town with the preconceived notion of killing Harper because of something that happened to him in his past, and Harper is connected to that. But as the two get closer, they realize that, specifically Nolan realizes that Harper is not who she says she is, and they learn a little bit more about each other and they become attracted to each other. But also there is a sleuth, a true crime sleuth specifically, that came to Cape Carnage pretty much looking for this very infamous serial killer, and is just kind of looking for that and is like almost getting on the tails of them. But like Harper and Nolan are basically like called off a truce to make sure that like they don't get caught, or specifically somebody doesn't get caught, even though like we kind of know where it's going. It's kind of like a little bit of like an enemies to lovers type of situation. And I say enemies kind of a little bit on the looser term, because to Nolan, it's definitely an enemies side. But for Harper, it's not really enemies, I would say. It's kind of an interesting dichotomy with that, but that was the last book I read. And then the current book that I am reading is Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson. I have mostly been listening to that on audio. I am like 83% of the way through, as y'all can see right there. I should also technically be reading as well too, but not gonna lie, I kind of took a little bit of time to just like do this and just like talk to you guys here because I'm feeling chatty. And so far, I am liking Black Cake, but I also am getting a POV fatigue. There's so many POVs within this story, which, you know, I don't mind at all whatsoever. I really, really do not mind too much of that. But sometimes if you're not always paying attention to who's who and who's connected to who within the story, it can get very jumbled very, very fast in your mind. So I just have to kind of remember to just actually be like all ears whenever I am listening to the book. I've also been kind of reading it on Kindle, but not completely reading it on Kindle. I have like 2 hours and some odd minutes left of the book, and I think I can get it done today, but if not, I will more than likely get it done tomorrow. And then I'm not too sure which book I want to start tomorrow, but we shall see. Oh, hold on. What is spam doing calling me? What was I talking about? The next book that I'm thinking of reading. So I've actually got a lot of books that I think I do want to read, mostly because the TBR is back there. But one that I actually have on Libby that I was actually able to get was Mad Mabel by Sally Hempworth. I have been wanting to read this one for a while, mostly because when I read Darling Girls, I absolutely loved it. And I really liked the way that Sally like wrote her stuff. So I'm really kind of curious to read that one. And another one that I'm also thinking about starting is The Husbands by Holly Gramazio. I have just wanted to read that book for a long time. I think it was one of the first ever Book of the Month copies that I ever got from Book of the Month when I first started reading, but I don't remember off the top of my head. That one basically follows a girl who she comes home one day and finds herself that she has a husband, but she had no idea about this husband. They have photos together, they have a life together, but then when he goes up into the attic, a new husband basically pops from the ceiling, and we just kind of follow from there. And maybe I might read a little bit of Red Rising. I'm not too sure. Honestly, I might start Red Rising. We shall see how that goes, because that's another one where I think I'm definitely going to need my brain on all the time when I'm doing this, but I don't really know, to be honest with you. But yeah, those are my last current and next reads, and I think I'm gonna end this here, honestly. So thank you guys again so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, please make sure to like and comment down below. If you don't know what to comment down below, tell me which bookish adaptation you are going to be watching or have already watched. If you liked me, please make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications. You guys know I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. This types of videos will be in the description down below. You can check that out. If you also want to find me somewhere else on the internet, you can go to my Fable, Goodreads, TikTok, Instagram, now my Patreon as well too. And if you also want to like learn a little bit more about the books that I talked about as well too, I will have links in the description down below to my bookshop.org. I think it is so fun to just kind of go through there and just buy books from local independent bookstores, and you will be supporting indie bookstores. It is a great little opportunity to do there as well too. And also be sure to check out the Patreon. You're going to get content that you will not see on the channel, and you will also be getting to see, like, I'm thinking probably also like doing like early uploads depending on what exactly the video is as well too. And I'm just, oh, I'm so excited to like go on this new adventure with you guys. I've been doing this for a year, and I'm like, you know, a Patreon sounds like a good idea to do. But yeah, again, thanks for watching, and I truly, truly, truly hope that you guys have an amazing day, week, month, and year. See you later, friends.